Hi, good morning. Welcome to the Monarchy podcast. And today our guest is Vince Perri, known as the People's Public Adjuster, founder of Commercial Claims Advocate, blogger, vlogger, and podcaster based out of Tampa, Florida. So welcome, Vince.
Thank you. That sounds so cool.
And we have Edgar Velasquez with us today as well.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Vince. I did some research and I saw that you went through tough journey to become a public adjuster. Can you tell us a little bit more about that journey and how you got here today?
The journey was fun. I was a full-time tennis instructor. That's what I did for a long time. And I even was a tennis instructor for a while I was a public adjuster. As you know, being a public adjuster, thankfully, we've got sort of the time that we could pursue other things at the same time while we're being a public adjuster. So I started teaching this guy. He was coming in for 2 private lessons in the morning and bringing his kids for 2 private lessons in the evening at $70 each lesson. I'm like, dude, where do you find the time and the money? I mean, that's a lot of money per week, you know? And he goes, oh, I'm a public adjuster. And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. So I go back.
But I want to do that.
Right. Well, my dream was to become a sports agent. And I go back and I do a little research on it. And I actually find a blog that compares a sports agent to a public adjuster. Because you have your client, you represent your client, you negotiate against the insurance company like a football team or whatever to get the best value for your client. And that's it. That's when I was sold. And then he told me, try to get a job on the inside first so you could learn a little bit. So I applied, got my independent license. I applied everywhere and I ended up getting a job with State Farm. I worked as an auto claims adjuster
Very cool.
Oh, dude, I know. Worked as an auto claims adjuster for 2 years, and then that was it. I mean, when you're a tennis instructor, it's not that different from a public adjuster. You make your own hours, you know what I'm saying? And you sort of work, the harder you work, the more money you make, more lessons you have, the more money you make. And working 9 to 5 and under fluorescent lights in a cubicle, telling me when to take lunch, telling me when to take a break, telling me when I could go on vacation, telling me I'm like, I can't. So after 2 years, I said bye. During the middle of the economic crisis in 2008, I literally got a standing ovation walking out because the State Farm's biggest thing was, don't complain about your job. You should be lucky to have a job. And I said, no, it's not. I'm out of here. So I went back to teaching tennis and became a public adjuster. And I did both of those for quite a while.
Okay. So at State Farm, you just did, you said was an auto adjuster?
Auto claims, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like that gave you any kind of leverage, becoming a public adjuster?
Sure. I mean, when you work on the inside, you realize that, you learn how to read a policy. So that's number one. That's pretty important. How to sort of scan through the policy and what you need to know, what not need to know. But when you get your manager bringing you in, asking you why you paid this and why you paid that and why you paid this, you start to sort of question. Meanwhile, I had already knew when I started working for public adjuster, I kind of wanted to be a public adjuster anyway when I was working for State Farm. But at the same time, they were bringing me in every once in a while saying, why are you paying for this? Why are you paying for that? And I'm just like, well, because they need to be paid. Why are you even asking me? And I didn't like that.
And that's the truth.
That's the truth.
And that's how it works.
Yeah.
State Farm, usually for cars, they're pretty good from what I hear. For homeowners, not so much.
In my opinion, they're the worst. I mean, they're just very, very difficult. I mean, I've got one now that it's just been an absolute nightmare. I've got one now I filed 3.5 weeks ago, and they have yet to have the initial inspection. So I'm already obviously threatening with lawsuits and all kinds of stuff because, I've got a shower pan leak upstairs. We've had to remove the upper cabinets. They've got all kinds of water damage going on underneath the shower pan. And I spoke with the adjuster yesterday, and I'm just like, what? I mean, this is not right.
Yeah.
And he told me, he's like, well, if you need to file a lawsuit, file a lawsuit. And I'm just like, what? Like, what? Why do you even want to just go to the house and inspect the property?
On a bad foot already.
Yeah, they are very difficult.
Did they say why? They haven't sent somebody. Are they too busy?
They're too busy.
Man.
Which is not my problem. It's not the homeowner's problem. Hire more people.
Are they using independent adjusters or they're using their...
They're actually using an independent adjuster because usually State Farm sends, it's like kind of like the same adjuster that does both. Yeah. There is a desk adjuster and there's an independent adjuster. No, it's not. There's a desk adjuster and there's a field adjuster, but he works directly with State Farm. The desk adjuster told me the same thing as the field adjuster yesterday, saying that they're too busy, they're overwhelmed, they've got too many claims. And that's not really my problem and that's not the homeowner's problem. You need to hire more help or just...
We've encountered that recently with both other carriers too, where they're overwhelmed and they're taking a really long time and they're using now outside adjusters, to do the inspections for them and stuff.
You know what I like to do? Yeah. Sorry.
You
know what I like to do when I get responses like that? I'll email them and I'll say, just to confirm our conversation, you said the claim is taking too long. I mean, that because you guys are taking long to send an adjuster, that I should hire an attorney. Just for the record, and put it out there.
I feel as public adjusters, we need to be writers. It sounds weird, but if we could really learn to master the art of just writing, not story writing, not literature or anything like that, but just structuring our emails in a way that you're able to hit all the points that you need to hit and really describe and break down in detail every single thing that's going on in the claims process. And I mean everything. I had a big association meeting yesterday with a flood claim that I have here. And one of the people who live, I mean, this is 63 units. It was a flood, and it hit all 63 units, 1 to 4 inches of water in every single unit.
Wow.
So we had a big meeting yesterday, and one of the people was really great idea. She said, "Hey, what can we do? What can we do to help you? Because this is already almost coming up on 2 months, and we haven't gotten a payment yet." And I was like, "Well, why don't you write me an email?
Yeah.
Just send me an email of how you're feeling. Like how are you?" Because they're telling me that, like one lady, I mean, she must be in her mid 60s, and she's literally telling me, she's like, "I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind because I've got 2-foot flood cuts in my house, and I can't afford to cover these flood cuts until the insurance company pays." So she's losing her mind. The one who actually came up with the idea, like, what should we do? It's her mother that lives there. She said, "What can we do to help her? Because my mom is, in her 70s and she's got the same problem." So I said, send me an email. Send me an email telling me exactly how you're feeling and what is the situation and what's been going on. So everybody's going to do that. They're going to send me a bunch of emails. I'm going to save them as PDF, and then I'm going to attach them, and I'm going to send an email to the adjusters. And in my email, I'm going to basically break down, and I took a video of the entire association meeting of them really being upset.
Yeah.
I'm going to attach the video. I'm going to attach their emails, and I'm going to let them know what's going on. Because now not only do you have it on record, but at least you're telling them of the situation, and maybe you hope that it's going to just speed up the process a little bit.
Yeah. And I know they have those 90 days, but I always thought those 90 days are excessive. 90 days for them to make a coverage determination. Like 3 months is a long time for yes or no.
Doesn't make
or
any
even
sense.
To wait till the end. We have claims, too. It happens where they won't even send an RFI till a month or 2 months in. Like, you only have 3 months. Why do you wait till the end? So I think that's something that definitely should be, we'll put it in there with a request for the public adjuster.
Right.
Yeah, I'll ask them to put it in there to shorten that time.
I send an email every week. As soon as I submit my estimate, my LOR, my POL, my water mitigation documents, and my photos, and then we have the inspection, every week after that, in my email, it's basically, "Hey, how you doing? I've sent you bullet points, this, and that. We've had the inspection on this date. Is there anything else you need? If not, we'd like a coverage decision within the next 7 days." 7 days later, if there's no response, you did not, we sent you this, and that. We had an inspection here, and we sent you an email on this date with no response. If you don't have a response, or if you don't need anything else, 7 days. And then I've got like all these templates of all these different emails that
we have a similar nagging system as well.
You got it. You have to. You have to put the ball on their court is what I like to do. And then I like to say that as a public adjusters, we should take control of the claim. We should, make sure that we're trying to control it. And you'll be surprised. They pay rather fast when you nag them a lot.
Yeah, because every time they see your name, they're like, "Oh, this guy's going to be annoying every week. Let me just get him out of the way."
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, we got to be annoying.
Especially when you've submitted everything that they need to make coverage, right?
Yes.
What's the holdup?
I learned that from my attorneys.
Review.
Yeah, the attorneys are the ones that taught me that, was just like, put the ball in their court, send them everything they need. If they've got an inspection, they've got the photos, and they've got, you've got the plumbing documents, and you've got all that stuff, what else do they need?
Yeah.
Unless they want to send their own plumber, which is fine too, but, let's get it moving.
Of course.
So, yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Getting them to get their people and get the reports and all that. So you're still currently a public adjuster, right? You still practice as a public adjuster, but then you also have commercial claims advocate, which is it just for commercial claims, or is this just what it's called? And
so the story behind that, so I signed my first big commercial claim 2 years ago and got paid very nicely for that claim. And I'm like, you know what? I want more of these. If I can get more of these, that'd be great. So let me start this little social media persona, and I'm going to call it commercial claims advocate, just to, put it out there as commercial claims. Maybe it'll attract more commercial claims. The idea was I was just going to make a couple videos of just saying, honestly, it was just I wanted to promote it just to reopen Hurricane Michael claims, which is what I was doing. I was trying to do. I made the worst video ever. I mean, I had like a tie on and everything, and I was just like, that's not me. But then I just started posting photos every once in a while, and then I started noticing all these crazy water damage limits and all these different things, and I didn't like what was on the policy, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start pointing my cell phone at me, and I'm gonna just start taking videos, and I'm gonna just scream to policyholders to be careful with this, be careful with that, be careful when the insurance company says this, be careful when the insurance company says that, and then it just turned into, well, let me see if I could just educate public adjusters too. And then it just sort of grew into something else.
Okay. So it was just born as a commercial claim advocacy thing, but it grew into just a general homeowners. And how important is it to educate the policyholders and PAs?
I think it's super, super important. I mean,
in your opinion,
the insurance companies, I mean, you guys know, you read these policies, it's even hard for us. Yep. And we've been doing this for a long time, and it's constantly changing. You guys know, any policy that you get, there's slight differences that unless you go through it, you're not going to see them. If it's still a little bit hard for us, can you imagine what it's like for a brand new public adjuster, or what it's like for a policyholder who has no idea? And you guys know as much as I do, they're signing that's a contract between the policyholder, the homeowner, the building owner, and the insurance company. And once they sign that, they're binded to it. So It's important for us to educate them on all the little nuances that we see on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it's crazy that they agree to that contract, but they don't even see the policy beforehand. All you do, you get a questionnaire about your house, this and that, and then after you sign is when you get the policy. And you're relying on the agent, that sold you the policy for your coverages.
That's true. When you get that email of comparing the different coverages, all you're getting is a deck page.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
sorry, it's true, because when I got my when I renewed my insurance, I remember asking my agent, because I want to be like super informed, and he couldn't send me the endorsements or anything. All he could send me was that deck page, and then I got the policy afterwards. There's no way for him to send it to me before I signed.
So I still get questions all the time. I get questions from policyholders. Hey, what insurance company should I get? And my answer is usually they're all the same. They're all going to be difficult if you have to file a claim. And I just tell them, look, just make sure whatever insurance company you get, make sure you don't have any water damage exclusion, make sure you don't have a water damage limitation, and make sure you don't have contractor right to repair. I said start with those three things. And as long as you make sure you don't have that, then after you get the policy, then if you want, send it to me. I'll be happy to read through it. But just don't have those three things. Those three things are just a nightmare.
And State Farm.
And don't get State Farm either, yeah.
Yeah, man. That's a service that we offer here. So we encourage homeowners or business owners to send us the policy. We'll review it for them, and that results in a credit to in a premium credit in some ways. Once we're able to either adjust the coverage, because sometimes people have excessive coverage and they don't know that, on contents, on fencing, and those are things that you can adjust to lower your premium.
Right.
So it's not only about making sure that you have the right coverage, but also that you're paying only for what you need and not excessively. So that's something that we do as well.
Yeah, I didn't like some of the hurricane claims I went to. I had some that were at a 5 and at a 10% hurricane deductible.
Oh, yeah.
And then depending on the dwelling coverage, right? And then they don't see it that way. They look at the premium. They look at what they're paying, and they think of daily claims because they don't think of a hurricane. But then when you ask them, would you, if you had to come up with $15,000, $20,000 out of pocket to replace your roof, could you? And they're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. No, I can't.
This claim that I have now, this flood claim, they have a master flood policy, and thankfully the association upgraded it. They had to pay an extra $30 a month, and it doubled their flood premium.
Yeah.
And if they didn't do that, I wouldn't even taken the claim.
Yeah.
Because they would have just been maxed out within the first few units.
And that we see that so often with People's Trust specifically, where they give a credit of $130 a year for you to take on their preferred contractor endorsement. But then when it comes to time to do repairs, then you'll regret it, and that's for sure.
That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. I mean, it's your home. It's your home, it's your business, it's your building. You should be able to hire whoever you want. You should be able to not negotiate, but you should be able to choose and interview contractors, whomever you like. You should get the best price possible. You shouldn't have to be binded. It's bad enough you have to rely on the insurance company for a payment, but then after that payment is made, you have to extend that relationship and now have to go through the contractor, because the contractor's hired by the insurance company. You still, as a policyholder, still have to go through the desk adjuster to communicate with the contract. That's just a nightmare.
And pay them your deductible.
And you have to pay your deductible. Yeah. I had one that they had a big wind deductible also, and it was like $8,000, and they're tiny little house. And I'm just like, yeah, are you sure you're ready to have to pay $8,000 because they're going to send their own contractors out here? And there's, maybe not.
Yeah, so it's just not worth it for them. Do in your training, you know, with the commercial claims advocacy that you train other public adjusters, do you find any resistance, or do you encounter any resistance with other PAs, like being, you know, trained by another PA?
I've been so lucky. Since I started this about 8 months ago, I have gotten, knock on, where's the wood? Knock on wood.
We need a piece of wood here.
Yeah,
right here.
yeah, there we go. Knock on wood. I have yet to get a negative comment. I mean, everybody has been so supportive, and it's a lot of work. You guys know you're doing this podcast now. It's, you know, you got to go out of your way to do something like this. But we do one YouTube video per week. I put daily like vlogs out. We do a monthly blog. We do a monthly free webinar. We're doing a monthly podcast. It's a lot of stuff. But every time I get a message from somebody saying, dude, that was awesome. Thank you so much for that information. That was so helpful. I'm just like, I respond to every single one. I'm like, thank you. Like, that's encouraging me to continue to do it. It's been great. Now we just started. We did the first consulting course that we just sold out of last week. We sold out in 3 days. And it's a one-on-one consulting course that we're offering to any public adjuster that's interested. We took in 13 people because it's one-on-one. So basically we're scheduling everybody out now in August, where it's going to be a one full day. I call it a webinar on steroids. So if you've seen any of the free webinars we did, it kind of just scamming through some of the information. This is going to be like in detail, how to grow your business, how to find the work, who to build relationships with. And then the second half is my entire claims process, how I do my claims flow, how my emails, all my letters and templates and stuff like that. And then I'm also going to give them the opportunity to come and shadow me for a day. We've got people from Minnesota, New York, Texas, and then mostly everybody else is from Florida. I'm just like shocked. I think we're in an education day and age right now with the internet, where everybody's constantly Googling, everybody's constantly looking for research, everybody's constantly looking to learn more, reading books online, doing all these things. I think it's like a perfect time to really, everybody's just looking to just find more information. And with public adjusting, like we were just talking about before the podcast, it seems like it's hard to find good education from other public adjusters, because every public adjuster wants to hide all the information like it's some kind of secret.
Yeah.
And we've talked about collaborating with other PAs. Like, you know, we're all for it. It's just, you know, we have found that everybody, you know, and we're thankful, you know, you agreed to come here and share this information with us. But not every PA, like you said, they think they're hiding something. They have some proprietary information that they don't want to share with us. And, you know, we can just come together and be stronger, everybody together, you know. So.
Well, I mean, we may have some negotiating tactics that are proprietary here and there.
We're not going to disclose.
Well, please share.
Vince, so what does this course go for? How does one get it?
So like I said, we were supposed to lock it out at 10. We took in 13. It's $9.99, so $1,000, and it's one-on-one private consultation. We might do it again at the end of the year. Honestly, I think the goal is, we might charge less, and I'll do just like a group class is what we're gonna do. And for the $1,000, I'm just about finishing up the book. I had a meeting with my team today. We're just gonna finish the book. It's gonna be probably about 50 to 75 pages, which is gonna include, again, my whole breakdown on how I grew my business. Because the thing is, I had to do it twice. Obviously, in 2008, you guys know what it's like. You have to spread the word, let people know. But then when I moved to Tampa 2 years ago, I had to start over, because you guys know Miami. What did somebody say in Tampa? That Miami is the closest country to the United States. So even going from Miami to Tampa, to some people that may not seem far, but you guys know as much as I do, that's a whole different world.
It is. Yeah.
So I had to start from scratch, join different networking groups, go out and network and meet people. Happy hour here, happy hour there. I meet real estate people here, meet real estate people there. So I sort of developed like a kind of whole process on how I do that. I'm teaching that in the course. Because the biggest, you guys, I think, maybe would agree, I think the hardest part in this business is not so much dealing with the insurance company, but it's just finding the work.
Right.
Yeah, at the beginning, at least.
It's very difficult. You know, until you find some really good referral sources, it's hard to find the work. And I remember twiddling my thumbs when I first started, like, I'm bored. I got nothing to do. What should I do? You know what I'm saying? And you got to go out there and find it. So.
And it's, for anybody that's looking to start, it's very easy to get discouraged when you're starting. because you can go months without finding a claim, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning. So I've seen a lot of people take it on, and then after the 4th, 5th month, they're like, this is not for me.
What about when you're broke?
Yeah.
No money coming in, or you have a good month and then you have 3 bad months.
Yeah.
I did a video on YouTube where it was top 10 public adjuster mistakes, and it was like little things. And I was like, just stay tuned for the end of the video. I'm going to give you my number 1 mistake that public adjusters make. And the number 1 mistake was quit.
Yeah.
And I said, don't quit. Like, public adjusters give up. And what we were talking about before was now we've got this influx of public adjusters because we've had 2 hurricanes in Florida in the last 3 years. What's going to happen if we don't have another hurricane for 5 years?
You got to hustle.
You got to hustle. You got to find it,
Yeah.
And I guarantee there's going to be a lot of public adjusters that quit, just because, I don't know, between finding the work and managing your money, managing the money is very difficult for us too, because it's like a roller coaster, So I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like natural selection in a way, right? So the bad ones will filter out.
The lazy ones. Yeah.
How do the claims like in Tampa differentiate from your claims in Miami?
Ooh. I'm going to tell you. So we don't have much $10,000 water damage limits. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Don't run into that much.
So you think it's that carriers offer maybe different coverages, in other parts of Florida?
Well, there's not much citizens I noticed either.
No,
not as much. I don't know. Maybe it's just a Miami thing. You know how they say that Miami's got all this fraud and stuff like that. So maybe they just they make it difficult for policyholders to get good coverage here in Miami. But I don't run into it as much in Tampa.
Okay.
However, it's a little bit more difficult to sign claims because the Latin community here, you guys know, I'm sure when you walk into the house, they're just like very happy to see us. Oh my goodness. Either they got totally screwed by the insurance company and we're there to help, or we're coming in referred, whether through a family member or a friend, and they're just like, what? You're coming to work for me? Oh my God. Yes, please help me. Where do I sign?
Yeah.
Maybe the American community, that's just the community in Tampa, they're a little bit more like reserved. They want to give the insurance company a chance. Well, they're my insurance company. They're representing me, right? Well, let me give them a chance first. Let me see what they pay first, and then maybe I'll think about hiring you. So I have found that it's a little bit more difficult to get the contract signed so that we could really start the process.
We have several claims up there as well, and I find that claims are also, they run a lot smoother. They get paid quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have as many obstacles along the way. So that's a positive.
I've noticed, I would say, when I was living here, I used to tell people that about half my claims went to litigation. I would say now, like 10% of my claims go to litigation. Man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, sorry to my attorneys out there. Yeah, if I could avoid giving it to you guys, I'd rather just get paid quicker,
I agreed 100%.
So it doesn't go to litigation as much.
So can you tell us, Vince, about like your oddest claim that you had? And was that in Miami or was that in Tampa? Or you recall?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here. Odd, like what do you mean odd?
Or like your craziest claim,
crazy claim or weird claim. I don't know, something.
I don't know.
We all have crazy stories.
I've got one now where they denied the claim because of vacancy, and I walked into the house and it's this old lady. She's probably in her 80s. I walked in the house and there's mold all the way up to, I'd say, about a good 4 feet up the wall.
Wow.
It's like that. So she tells me the whole story. She tells me what's going on, and she starts to break everything down. She's like, look, they're trying to say that it's vacant, but I had like some injury. I had to move in with my son, but I came back every single day to look at my house. And then she said something about, I think she was gone for like 3 days. And then that's when she noticed that she came back. She opened the door, water came out. She had the surgery. She was living with her son. So anyway, she told me all these things. I went through the entire denial letter, and they denied it based on like 4 or 5 different things. And I literally sent a letter, certified, basically taking every single one of the denials and putting my reason for why that's not true. And they paid $0, and they made an offer of almost $100,000 recently.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
No attorney.
That's amazing.
She got the denial reversed. I don't know if that's odd. That's just the first thing that came up in my head.
That is.
Poor old lady,
That is. And we've been able to do that a few times here and there, but it's not common to be able to reverse a denial.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that you got 5 different reasons, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, so. I think I try to put myself in their shoes, and I say it in the email, like, look, we could get this done the easy way, or we could get this done the hard way. I'm already giving you all the, because that's what the attorneys do. They're just kind of bringing up and trying to find arguments to battle whatever it is that they're saying, and then they battle it out. Attorney fees go up. All right, forget this. Let's just settle.
Exactly.
So if I could already bring up a lot of those things, and I tell them straight up, I'm just like, look, here's my reasons. You could believe it or you could not believe it, but they're damn good arguments. And if you want to do this the easy way, or do you want to do this the hard way? Because we'll just file a lawsuit.
Exactly.
And we'll save you the attorney fees. And just to break that down a little bit to further educate people. So the vacancy, from what I recall, is it what, like 60 days? You have to be out for a property to be considered vacant. However, mold takes 24, 48 hours to grow. So you could essentially be out of your home for a month or be on vacation for a whole month, not be breaking that, vacancy, clause, and still have mold growing up your walls. So just to break it down a little bit for people so they understand that something like that, just because they put it in writing and say it's denial, it's not final and it's not true.
I found that what's helped me is I'll Google definitions too. Sometimes I'll look at the policy, obviously, but I'll Google it too. And the definition of vacancy, there needs to be no furniture in the house, no running water. Yeah. There's all these little things. When I brought all that stuff up, I'm like, look, all her furniture's been there. Yeah. She's just living with her son now because she's recovering from a surgery, but she goes back every single day. And I even asked her, I said, hey, can I go talk to the neighbors too? You think they'll say? And she's like, oh yeah, the neighbors will say that I'm here every day. And I'm like, all right, well, great. And I put that in the email as well.
Yeah, and she may not notice a little spot here and there, of mold, but once it gets out of control like that, then that's when she'll see it. And they still have to cover it.
It was nasty. Wow. It was a lot of mold.
Vince, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Why should a client hire a PA and not an attorney right away? I want to get your point of view on that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think the attorney process, it could drag out. Yeah. It could take a long time. A PA, is somebody that is looking out for your own interests, is doing whatever they can. An experienced PA knows how to read the policy, knows how to. And then the other thing is a PA is going to take the entire claims process out of your hands. We're going to file the claim for you. We're going to gather all the documentation up for you. People don't know. I mean, I know you're asking. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
you are.
Yeah. People don't know what is covered and what's not covered. They don't know what to tell the insurance company, what not to tell the insurance company. Not that you should disclose any information from the insurance company, but whatever you say can and will be held against you. Yeah. When you hire a professional, we're going to basically present the claim in a way that is going to only help you get the claim paid, because we already know what's not covered. We already know what's covered, and we should look through the policy real quick before we file it. So you're not going to, as a policyholder, I mean, I always ask for photos and they always say they never took photos, right? So that sucks. Yeah. But I always try to take photos right when I get there. So, they don't know that you need to build a file. You need to get the expert out there, plumber or whatever it is that's going to help your case. The water mitigation, dry out, because the second you leave it going for too long, they could hold that against you too. If you don't hire an expert, they're going to hold that against you too. If you don't put an estimate together, you're not going to have any room to negotiate. Policyholders don't know about that stuff. And then the other thing is, a good public adjuster, in my opinion, I don't record, but I any single inspection and any conversation is immediately documented on my file. Yeah. So any conversation that I have, it's documented. Any inspection that I have, it's documented. Because I do look at every single claim even though only 10% of my claims go to litigation, I file every single one of my claims as if it were to go to litigation. And a policyholder is not going to set up the claim the same way that a public adjuster is going to, an experienced public adjuster, to present the claim correctly to the insurance company to make it easier for the insurance company to pay what you deserve. A policyholder doesn't know all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, you don't hire. How many people do you know use TurboTax to file their claims? They usually hire an accountant to do it. Do you need to hire an accountant? No. But
should you? Yeah.
But should you? Yeah, you should hire an expert. You're not gonna do work in your teeth. You're gonna hire a dentist to do it. You should hire a public adjuster. And our fee, our 20%, when all is said and done, it's going more often than not. Our fee will be covered to whatever it is that you need to pay for your damages. So. I mean, come on, we can't work for free either.
Exactly.
Yeah, to expand on your question about the attorneys, and there's some attorneys that are great, but realistically, an attorney is not going to get on your roof. They're not going to go into your sink. They're not going to get in your attic if they have to. So they do what they do best. They file lawsuits. They go to court.
Correct.
So, and what some people don't know is that some attorneys hire public adjusters or loss consultants, unlicensed loss consultants, to go do these inspections and rely on them. So why not just go straight to the source and hire an adjuster? If your case needs to go to litigation, then go ahead, hire an attorney. But even if you hire an attorney, they're going to rely on the expertise of somebody else anyway to be their eyes and representative. So
the insurance company sends their own adjuster out. You have the right to have your own adjuster. It only makes sense.
Correct. But I just want to make sure that, because I wanted to add something to the whole attorney PA thing. While the attorney is essential when in litigation, it's also essential that the attorney works or has in hand an estimate from a good public adjuster, somebody who knows how to write estimate, because that negotiation is going to be based on that estimate, on those numbers that the public adjuster provided to the attorney. Now, if an attorney hires a loss consultant or an estimator to go out, that estimator is not invested in that client's claim in any way, so they don't really care, what the value of the claim is. They're just writing it up. So I think that's why it's important to first hire a PA, and then if it needs to go to litigation, you bring the attorney into play at that point. But never skip the PA portion, because otherwise you won't have somebody there that's really looking after your personal interest and making sure that you get the highest amount possible for your claim.
And I would like to make clear the fact that the attorneys are vital.
Yeah,
they are. Yeah.
For us to be bold, because we know that if we fail, or if they decide to tell us if they send us to hell, we know that we could still file a lawsuit.
Correct.
So that's one thing that we need to, as public adjusters, get together, because I know that the state, they're trying to eliminate like attorney fees and costs. That would be a huge blow to the industry.
To everyone.
To everyone.
To attorneys, to public adjusters, to homeowners.
To the homeowners, yeah.
To homeowners.
That's,
Because I remember when I first started, when I developed my file in a way, and like I send all those emails and letters. But, before I did all that stuff, I used to just not, to this day, I'm not worried too much what the insurance company is going to say to me, because I know that I've got my muscle in the back, which is the attorneys.
Exactly.
That will file a lawsuit and do it.
They don't intimidate us anymore.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And again, my point was not to bash anyone at all.
No, absolutely not.
I wanted to make sure that hire a PA then hire an attorney. I wouldn't suggest going straight to the attorney, because then I feel like you won't have somebody there that's for you.
And not just the estimate, like we talked about documenting, the claim. They use all of our work product to then file their lawsuit. So it's important to have a good PA that's going to build a good case for a good attorney.
Exactly.
So it's all important,
Yeah, I recommend all PAs to try to build a relationship with some kind of an attorney, because my attorney, I use most of my claims here in Miami, David Farber. He's fantastic. And shout out to David. He helped me a lot through my growing process of, Vince, if I end up getting this claim, because whatever, you need to make sure that you've got this here, this here, this here, this here, and all like done. So he helped me a lot in the beginning of my career.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, Vince. So let's see. We mentioned earlier you studied sports management, and that's what you wanted to get into. And you were a tennis instructor, correct?
Yeah.
And now you're a public adjuster. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but I wanted to ask you: do you find any correlation between those two, or do you find anything that you learned in your career useful in the public adjusting world?
Dealing with people. I think it's funny, because I was a tennis director for the Tamiami Tennis Center here at Tamiami Park for quite a while. And then I had my own tennis academy, the Miami Elite Tennis Academy in Kendall, in the Kenlands. I had that for about 5 years. And what you learn when you're a business owner and you're a manager is you learn how to have to deal with people all the time. And I think public adjusting, more important than knowing about construction, more important than putting together an estimate, I think we need to be able to build strong, positive relationships with our clients, with our referral sources, the GCs, the contractors, the roofers, the water mitigation companies, with the field adjusters, with the desk adjusters. I do not make war with any of these people. Unless they want to come at me and ask for a fight, I try to, what I say, kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
As soon as I go out to that inspection, I am like overly nice. Not to a point where it's like weird, but it's just like I just want to be super, super, super nice. Because the field adjusters are like, they're kind of independent, right? And they're trying to put a case together also and present it to the insurer. If I'm able to provide that field adjuster with everything that he needs, it's going to only help the homeowner. So anyway,
and make his job easier too.
Right. Yeah. So, being with the tennis sports management, I was in charge of a few tennis academies, had to deal with clients and parents and kids and all that stuff. And you just learn how to just communicate with people and just be cool, man. Just be nice.
Yeah. I'm exactly the same way. But I love a good fight, man.
Yeah.
I don't look for it, but when it arrives, like the gorilla comes out of me, and I just can't deal with somebody trying to take advantage of their power to take advantage of a homeowner or somebody who's defenseless in a way, right? And that just burns up inside of me. I know that maybe, like you said, I should try to kill them with kindness, and I try at the beginning.
It doesn't work all the time.
That's my first approach. But then you have those that you just want to.
I had one. I'll give you a funny little story. I had one guy had an inspection, and I just can tell when I scheduled it on the phone. I'm like, I just could tell. Nothing was said. I just can tell that it was going to be a problem. Yep. And the second we got to the house, it was like the start of the coronavirus. So he was just acting weird, and he was just very cold, and he didn't want me to make the repair because it was a repair that needed to be made behind the shower. So we had to go in through the tile and all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make the repair. So as soon as we meet, I tell him, look, I didn't make the repair because of this, this, and that. I said, but it needs to be done. Anyway, we walk into the house, and he's just cold, and he's weird. And the homeowners are there, and they could feel the awkwardness. I had the GC there. Sometimes I bring my expert out to the inspection, especially if they're working on the house. So I said, hey, be there because I want you're going to be able to explain this, because it was one of those where you've got the supply line behind the tile, but then you've got the drywall on the other side. They're always going to say, well, we need to do the drywall, don't go through the tile. Well, the problem is in order to go through that, you'd have to change all of the faucet handles and everything. In order to do that, you could only drill and you could only fit it correctly up to code through the tile. So I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm like, come to the inspection. I want you to explain that. I think it'll be a lot easier. So he starts to explain it to the guy, and he just keeps agreeing to disagree and agreeing to disagree and agreeing to disagree. And finally, I told the guy, I said, look, you've managed to make everybody in this home uncomfortable. I said, finish your inspection, and then we're done. And then when we went outside, I went off on him. And not in a screaming, yelling way. I'm just saying, I'm like, you did this, you did that from the beginning, I listed everything. And as soon as I got in the car, I sent an email. I called his supervisor. I called everybody. We got the claim paid within 3 weeks.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you have to. You just have to. I usually get these people reassigned ASAP.
Yeah.
ASAP.
That's what I tell my guys here. When you get somebody like that, try to get them reassigned. Just tell them that the guy's not cooperating. Speak to a supervisor. Yeah. Just always push. And this is something for the public adjusters that are watching, that are becoming public adjusters. You can't take no as an answer. You have to always push past the no's, and that's so important, because a lot of people, they really, and I think it's out of ignorance in a way, they think that, when you get a no, it's, that's it, that's where it stops. But there's always more. You could keep pushing, keep the pressure on, and that's where you get those results where in 3 weeks that claim got paid out. I
think it's up to us. I think it's up to you guys for your new adjusters. We're all in the beginning. I mean, I had it done to me. I got bullied every once in a while. It's just you're not experienced enough. You're not sure what to say. You don't know what. I think it's up to you guys to look after. I was lucky enough because I'm with Key Biscayne Claim Adjusters, and my partner is Richard. And when I started with him, he was more experienced, and I would leave a house stressed because the adjuster was pulling everything out of underneath the cabinets and throwing everything back in, and he was really rude, and I didn't know what to say, and I'm like, what's going on? And I would call him, and I'd be like, dude, this guy did this and that. He's like, what's his name? Hold on. He would hang up with me. He would call the guy immediately, and he would do that for me. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to do this consulting course. Also, that's why I want to try to train public adjusters, because I want them to know, like you're saying, that if an adjuster acts out of line, or if they're just keep telling you no, or they're doing all these things, you have the right to say these things, or I'll be happy to back you up and defend you, because that's not right.
And it's also important to know, if you go at it with an adjuster on a specific claim, is to know that when that claim is over, that ends there, and start on a clean slate when you start a new claim. Just because you had a bad claim with an adjuster doesn't mean that every claim you have with them, it's going to end up that way, or you're going to start, the next time, and you got to be that bigger person. The next time you come across this person again, just like nothing happened, and just start a clean slate on a new claim. It's not personal. It was just, regarding that one claim, if you're able to do that.
I'd like to ask you, if I could ask you a question, because I've got 2 women who signed up for the course. What is it like for a woman, as a public adjuster? Is it different? Is it a little bit Like, what is it like? What is some of the stuff that you have to go through if it's different than us at all?
Well, I think it's fun. I'm the only girl public adjuster here, but I don't know, that I don't feel discriminated in any way. Not discriminated, but like I don't feel like less than anybody else. I don't know.
That's because she's a beast.
That's awesome.
She's a murderer.
Sure.
She murders insurance adjusters left and right.
I think it's fun. I enjoy that, thrill of, being that 5 foot, adjuster that you talk to or meets with you. I think it's cool. It's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, because she asked me, she's like, oh, is there any other girls in the course? I said, oh, there's one other. She's like, oh, I don't know. I just feel like, because, she's like, I feel like it's hard for me to get business because you're in a world with just construction people and stuff like that. And I don't know, what would be your advice?
I say anybody can do it, really. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, if they're older, younger, anytime in their career. I think anybody can do it. And if you're willing to learn and you're willing to grow, it doesn't matter if it's, if you're a woman in the field. I'm not in the field so much. I'm more, in the office, but I do go out to the field as well. And I don't feel, intimidated at all.
95% of my YouTube audience is men.
Really?
Yeah, it's not cool.
Okay, so we need more women.
Yes, we need more women in the field.
And there's adjusters. I've ran into adjusters too at the inspections. There's a lot of women field adjusters too.
There's a lot of women field adjusters. Mm-hmm. We need more public adjusters though.
Yeah.
For real.
I agree. No, I agree. The good ones.
Yes, the good ones.
Good adjusters. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just
as long as you're good.
Yeah,
well, we need more girls though. We need more girls. Come on.
And I think, honestly, women, because of their nature, it's maybe even easier for them to get claims. I don't know. That's just a thought. I think, in a way, it's just they're more welcoming than men.
Yeah.
And most people expect, like, a man, like adjuster. I think.
Really?
I think so. I think most clients, like, I've had people on the phone, I've talked to someone on the phone, like, can I speak to the adjuster? I'm like, I am the adjuster. And then I get a throw out of that, of saying, like, what do you mean I am the adjuster? Let me talk to the adjuster. Or I show up, sorry. If, like, I've shown up, like, in my husband's truck or something, right, which I can barely get out of, but I show up and they're like, oh, wait, you're the adjuster? Yep, I'm the adjuster. So
that's awesome.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. Yeah, I think
awesome,
it's cool.
man. Awesome. Are you going to do the rapid fire or you want me to do it?
Oh, there's a rapid fire?
There's a rapid fire.
Yeah, but it's easy. It's real easy.
Go ahead. I'll let you do it.
Do it? All right, then. So these are just 5 simple questions for the audience to get to know you a little better, which I'm sure they already do. Whoever's going to watch this, since you're out there a lot. So, all right, let's get to it. So, favorite drink?
Coffee.
Okay. What is one thing that's on your bucket list?
One thing that's on my bucket list? Ooh, I don't know, man. One thing that's on my bucket list is to travel the world for years at a time.
Nice.
Or months to years at a time. We've got a whole plan.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Now that you mentioned that, and I'm sorry to interrupt the rapid fire, because I did do my research. I saw you were involved with some organization to overseas. Is it? I don't want to get the wrong country. Where is it?
Africa.
Africa.
Okay. Yeah. So we're. Do you want me to get into that?
I forgot about that. It prompted that question.
This all started. It's so funny. Everybody's just like, oh, I don't know how you do it. How are you able to get in front of the camera? How are you able to talk? And I'm just like, listen, you have to just start somewhere. Well, we started because, again, and I'm promoting public adjusting industry because it's, in my opinion, the greatest job in the world. And that is because, what was it? Like 5 years ago, we went on my wife and I, 3-month backpacking trip across Southeast Asia. And then we went on a 2-month backpacking trip across South America. And nice. And that was like 2 years later. And we started a YouTube channel, Make It Work and Travel. And it's not like the YouTube channel for the claims, but it's just different. And then from there, I started to get into photography heavily. That's why I was talking to these guys about all the camera equipment. I started to get into videography. I started to get into photography heavily. And I had like a dream where I wanted to just, in 2019, my goal was to just get one gig, one job. I didn't care what it was, but somebody to hire me to do something. And I sat next to this lady. And before we took off, we just got into talking. And she's like, oh, I'm the head of a nonprofit organization in Kenya. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. She's like, yeah, but we're just really slacking on our videos and our website, stuff like that. I'm like, this is before we took off. I said, well, take a look at my travel channel that I have on YouTube. Boom, boom, we show her. She's like, wow. She's like, that's great. I said, you fly me to Kenya? I said, I'll do it for free. I'll make your video for free. I just kept calling her after. I mean, 6 months later, I found myself in an outer body experience surrounded by 17 kids in Kenya, in the middle of nowhere, in this little town called Kisii, Kenya. We flew into Nairobi. I went by myself. I flew into Nairobi, and we drove 4 hours from the city of Nairobi to this small town called Kisii in the middle of nowhere. And I made a whole film for them. And now, fast forward even more, I'm part of the board, which is called Harvest Springs. And we go once or twice a year. Now, Corona, right? But we go once or twice a year now is the plan to go back to Kenya. I'm going to help them with photography, shoot their videos and stuff. And it's pretty exciting.
Sounds pretty cool.
Oh, my goodness. It's amazing. Outer body experience.
What does the organization do? What's the purpose of it?
So Harvest Springs, it's in London. That's where they are. That they're all English, and they're all. One of them is originally from Nigeria. Another one's originally from Kenya, and I don't know where the other two are originally from. And basically, our goal, is to have orphanages all over the world. So right now, their orphanage is in Kenya. This is that one orphanage, and the goal is to have different ones. So like, I have a half sister who's from Colombia, and she likes to give back to people there. So I told her, I said, maybe that'd be good. We could have one in Colombia, and then maybe we could have one just have different orphanages all over the world would be the goal.
Okay.
That's amazing, man.
Oh,
That's
my
amazing.
goodness. It is cool. It is really, really cool. We're really excited, and hopefully it could turn into something. Who knows? We just like to travel.
I hope that it does.
My wife and I just like to travel. That's like our thing. That's all we want to do. And that's sort of like the long-term goal is to maybe one day travel full time.
Real quick, how do you manage the claims while you're out? Or do you have somebody maybe that does it for you?
Yeah, so the downside with that is when you're traveling, you're not signing claims. And when you're not signing claims, you're not making money. So honestly, when I came, I'll never forget, we struggled for a while. When we came back from the 3-month backpacking trip, it was weird because while we were traveling, I was making money. And I'm like, isn't this great, babe? This is the greatest job. We're making money. 3 months after we got back, we had no money. And I'm like, well, I don't understand what's going on. And she's like, babe, we didn't, 3 months, you didn't sign a single claim.
Exactly.
So that's the downside, which is, again, the goal. We're going to try to see if we can get this we're going to have some online courses and all kinds of stuff.
But you survived, and I'm sure it was well worth it.
Oh, my goodness. Just my thing. One of my biggest rules is just say yes. So if somebody says, hey, let's go away for 3 months, just go. What's the worst that can happen?
We kind of have that problem too.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your rapid fire. I think it was a cool story. So.
I don't.
Thanks.
No, I'm glad you did. Like you did. Favorite superhero and why?
Oh, man. Favorite superhero and why? Let's say Batman.
Batman?
Yeah, because he, I feel like he helps the... No? Can I change it?
Yep, absolutely.
My wife calls me, or us, Robin Hood. Because I hate to use the word steal, but we steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Yeah, we use that term here as well.
Yeah, so Robin Hood. We'll say Robin Hood.
Except we don't steal. We just
exactly.
We take and give to the
Stick
poor.
it to the man.
Quality of life or quantity of life? It's a deep one.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the easy answer is quality because I'm all about quality of life. I'm always putting, I've made videos about this. I will always put my friends, my family, people I love, and my personal life. I hate to tell you this, but that's always going to come before work every single time. Yeah. It's hands down. It's not even like a competition, but I was asked the question, would it be better to know when you're going to die or how you're going to die?
That's a good one too.
I say no.
To know, no. Yeah.
Know how or when?
Yeah, when? Is it better to know how you're going to die or when you're going to die?
Oh, for me, it would be when. I don't know.
Me too. Yeah. I'm a when guy. Yeah, so that's why I don't know quantity, but I think quality is more important. I mean, if I die tomorrow, I think I could be pretty satisfied with the life I've lived thus far.
And you, Yuli?
What?
When or how?
I think when.
Me too.
So I know how much time because how it doesn't matter because you're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
But when it's like, how much time you have to do whatever you want to do.
And quality of life or quantity of life?
Oh, no, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
No.
Oh, wait. How or when?
Yeah,
okay,
that's
quality.
Why the question is...
I say quality.
Yeah.
Quality.
I have to say quantity.
Really?
Because
even it was a long, bad life.
What if it's like a mediocre, but it's a very long, 500-year life? I don't know.
500 years?
Yeah. I want to live forever, man.
My goal is to live to 100. I really want to live to 100. That's my goal.
I say quality.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Quality. That's why I travel all the time.
Yeah.
Man, we did a trip. I'll never forget this because we had a trip planned to Chile. Argentina, and Bolivia. And we had the trip already planned. 3 weeks we were going to go. Or 3.5 weeks. And guess what starts rolling in? Hurricane Michael starts.
I thought it was like coronavirus.
No, Hurricane Michael starts to make its turn. And it's like coming at us. And I'm like, babe,
gotta stay.
Can't go. Because we had another trip that we were on. And we had to cut it short for Irma.
Yeah.
So it's coming, and she's like, "No, what are you talking about? But we have to go." So the trip was 3 weeks or 4 weeks after Michael hit. So I'm like, "All right, let's not make a decision yet." So I go to the Panhandle. I actually ran into a friend who lived in the Panhandle because I started putting it on Facebook, and she starts referring me to people. So in the 3 weeks before, I land probably 6 claims. Right? Yeah. Really good claims too. And I go, "Let's go. Let's just do it." I warn all my clients. I said, "Look, I've had this trip planned for a year, and that's legit. This is the truth." I said, "I have to go." I called all the adjusters. I said, "Let's get the inspection, please. I'm going on this trip." I get all my initial inspections out. I go on the trip. I should not have gone. But while I was on the trip, and then when I came back, it was the best decision that I made because I fell for this passion for photography. I shot some incredible. I mean, we were in the Patagonia. We were in the Atacama Desert. We were in places where we looked at each other. We're just like, this is not even like planet Earth. And I met this like photographer guy next to me in a flight where he just showed me all his work. And that's where I designed the website. That's where I started the YouTube. Like all these things that I would not have done if I didn't go on that trip just for what? To sign a few more claims and make a little bit more money?
Yeah.
Nah, I made the right decision.
Man, absolutely.
I really want to travel, and the way you're talking about it, and like
I'm getting so jealous. I'm
you're
like,
visualizing. I'm like,
it was that was one of the toughest decisions because I should not have gone. I mean, anything would tell you no. I already had a referral source in the Panhandle, but I was like, whatever, let's do it. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. It's all about living, man.
I think it's all about living. Yeah, I mean, and travel to me is it's a huge passion of mine.
I think, there's a quote that says you work to live, you don't live to work.
Right.
And so depend on the life you want to live, then you work to live that life. Because if you just live your whole life to work, then you don't really get to enjoy life. So I'm glad you went on the trip because that's what you work for. Do that. So it's worth it.
It was tough. While I was out there, I got a couple nasty emails because, they were, imagine, did you guys go there to the Panhandle?
They did.
Yeah.
How bad was that?
It was pretty bad.
It was, especially after Irma, because I remember Irma. You remember where we drive around after Irma, and some houses had claims, some didn't, some had damage, some wouldn't.
Panhandles everything.
Every freaking house had significant damage. Yeah. It was nasty, and if you go back there now, there's still.
I know
it looks bad.
We haven't been in a few months, but the last time I went was I think December or January.
I think it was December. You guys flew up.
Yeah, and we're looking around. We're like, everything's still messed up here.
And I feel like it was underreported too, right? Like I don't think people realize how bad it was. It was bad.
Yeah, everything up there, I mean, the construction was, just old. And
I know.
Out of code, 100%.
So. Yeah. So I did most of my claims in Mariana.
Mariana,
right there, and I did a couple in Tallahassee. I didn't do any in Mexico Beach or anything like that. Honestly, I probably signed.
It was flat. Mexico Beach was like.
What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
I think I signed probably like 13 or 14 claims. That was it. That's all I did. I could have probably done more, but sorry, people who live in the Panhandle, but I just hated going there. I hated going there. Yeah. Did you guys do well over there?
Yeah, we did pretty well.
Yeah,
we did pretty well.
Yeah, we'll see the next one. Well, I'm sure when the next one will come, we'll be all right.
Well, that's around the corner from what it seems. So I hope you're ready.
I feel like 2020 is we have to have a hurricane, right?
It could coronavirus. It could be a curveball when we don't get a hurricane.
I don't know. Just coronavirus, Kobe. It's just that kind of year. I feel like it's just not a good year. Yeah. But I guess that would be good for us, unfortunately. But anyway.
Yeah, I feel bad saying it, but I'm looking forward to it. I don't know.
I get nervous. I do. I get a little because Irma was overwhelming. I felt like I didn't get a hurricane for so long.
Yeah.
And then finally Irma, and I went to go chase a couple too, and I just didn't. Yeah. When you get a hurricane in your hometown, it's just much different. You know how it's
easier.
It's so much easier because you got all your referral sources. So I would go chase a couple of them throughout those 9 years, and I just didn't really land much. And then when Irma came, I remember I didn't have a chance. I try to stay healthy and exercise stuff like. I didn't have a chance to even sit down. I had to go. I remember I went to Burger King and McDonald's a couple times because there was just no time.
I remember eating chips and like drinks in my car in between, like just stopping at gas stations and like getting a bag of chips and a soda or something, whatever, and just
because it was like 6 to 10 appointments every single day, and it's just a lot of work. And then climbing up on that ladder every single time and getting up on the roof and
in the middle of the heat.
In the middle,
I remember skipping showers.
For sure. I remember buying. That's a joke. Yeah, I was joking too.
Sure.
I remember buying a new pair of jeans because the jeans that I had, they were just not breathable. And I went and I bought like an expensive pair of jeans because they were more like stretchy and breathable because it was just too hot. Yeah. And then wearing shorts too, just because.
Are you a Florida native, Vince?
Born and raised in the county of Dade.
All right. Okay. So you've been through quite a few hurricanes here. Okay.
Yeah. Andrew was a good one. Yeah. Okay.
Too bad we weren't adjusting back then.
No. That's kind of where it all started, though.
Yeah, right?
A lot of it started then. I know Fapia started then.
Yeah.
Fapia started after Andrew.
So did Citizens, didn't it? Citizens also was created after?
I don't know.
I think so. I think I read about this. We'll confirm that later.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Sure, of course.
So in the late 80s... Huh?
Oh, go ahead. I'm going to look this up.
So in the late 80s, the reason why public adjusters really came to be in the late 80s, and this is in my course, is because Allstate, did you know that Allstate used to work directly with Sears?
No.
They were like the same company. Yeah, so apparently when we were like little kids, we don't remember, we used to walk into Sears and there would always be an Allstate booth. Allstate decided to separate from Sears and start their own little thing. They hired this firm, this business consulting firm called McKinsey and Associates. Okay. McKinsey and Associates went into Allstate. They went into their books. They were there to try to help them grow their business. And they realized that their largest expense was claims payouts. So they decided to train the entire staff
to not pay claims,
to underpay claims. They ended up finding 10, 15 years later, through lawsuits and stuff, PowerPoint presentations basically training all of their adjusters, all the different ways. If you hold back more depreciation, we're going to save this much money. If you underpay on drywall here, if you underpay here, if you underpay here, if you underpay here, we're going to save this many millions, this many millions, this many millions. All the other insurance companies started to realize, well, look at this. They're making all this money now. Yeah. Everything fell suit. And that's kind of where we are now.
Yeah, and they still do that. They still do that. They just don't justify it. They don't say, if you do this, you'll save money here. But they still ask you, do this.
I'm convinced that depreciation is literally there only so that they don't go after it later.
I agree 100%.
How much money do you think they save on depreciation?
A ton.
Because nobody ever goes after it.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, every time. But that's another reason for a policyholder to hire a public adjuster.
Exactly. A good one.
At least get your depreciation.
By the way, Citizens was founded in 2002. I had to look that up.
Look at that. Oh. Nice.
So 10 years after, but it was definitely post Andrew.
Yeah.
So it's not that old.
And FEMA just started after Katrina, right? FEMA's brand new too.
I'm not sure.
The people yesterday were like complaining because, last time we had a flood, they paid the claim real quick. And I'm like, last time there was a flood here, there was no such thing as FEMA. And FEMA they pay, but it's just difficult.
Yeah. I've heard. We don't have too many of the.
Oh man, I'm finding it right now. It's been a work in progress. The adjusters have been super nice. The adjusters for them have been super, super nice and doing whatever they can. But there's just so many units. It's been an uphill battle.
Yeah. Sorry, FEMA was founded in 1979.
Whoa,
did you
way
just say
off.
that?
I was way off on that one. Okay,
we weren't even born.
No, we were not.
Vince, we want to thank you for coming.
Thank you for the invitation.
We really appreciate it, and I hope this serves as an example to every other public adjuster out there, and to know that we can and we should collaborate and come together. I think we're stronger together. We're taking up on one of the biggest industries of all times, and we're literally the little guys. So we need all the power that we can. So thanks again for coming and taking this invitation, and really appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me. Really,
thank you guys so much, and you're welcome back whenever you want. You're welcome back in our little humble studio here.
It's a nice studio, I must say. It is very, very nice.
It's a work in progress.
I like it.
Just like all of us.
Exactly.
All right, Vince. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to ask and thank all the viewers for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment. I want to hear from you guys. I really do. How are we doing so far? Let us know, and we look forward to your comments. Take care, guys.